these are some of the comments on Al Jazeera, Al Jazeera Arabic about the attack. And as you can see, these comments are essentially in support of the shooters. They're not even essentially making excuses. They're using their real names. They're not using troll accounts. They're pretty happy about this. They genuinely are. Like, look at this. This guy's saying, "Oh God, accept their deeds and raise their ranks in the highest heavens and gather them with the prophets, the righteous, and the martyrs." How excellent a company they are. Just remember, this person is talking about terrorists who just killed 15 people. This is the type of evil that we're contending with. And these are just your average, the average person from the Middle East. I don't know, maybe if they do live in Australia, but clearly they weren't expecting people to look into this and have them translate it. And look at this. "And heal the hearts of the believers." And this guy goes, "May God make you among the people of paradise." Because obviously they believe those people are martyrs. So they would get the highest of honors in heaven. And the last one goes, "May God accept his martyrdom. He is a true hero in a time when men are scarce." Yeah, this is the mindset. You know when they say, and this is what really disgusted me. They were talking about, "Oh, you know what, guys? Like you gotta unite with these people. This is a time for unity, not division." You know what? I don't want to be united with people like this. They can be moderates, they can be whatever, like you might want to label them. But the second it's not in English, the second it's not a space where the average Australian or the average American or the European can actually decipher what they're saying, they revert right back to this. That is absolutely crazy to me. Like how openly they are celebrating the shooters and praying for them. And when you think about the chants, like for example, from the river to the sea, or globalize the intifada, or a lot of the time, even when they use even simple terms like jihad, they always lie to you. They always say, "Oh, look at this, from the river to the sea." Like that's not a big. That there's nothing violent about it. It's just a chant about Palestinian independence or whatever excuse they use. And that line is generally pushed by non-Muslim, non-Arab people. But when you actually hear that same chant in Arabic, the meaning changes a lot, very significantly. They're not saying "from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." They don't say any of that. They only say "from the river to the sea, Palestine will be Arab." Suddenly the meaning changes a lot. So from the Jordanian River to the Mediterranean Sea, if that entire area suddenly becomes Arab, what happens to all the Jews and the Christians who live in the middle? What happens to them? See, when all the non-Muslim, especially the progressive people march, they don't think about this. They don't listen to this. But this is the type of rhetoric that's ended up causing the shooting at the end. And even with globalized intifada, they're saying the same thing now. They've suddenly really switched around. And they're talking about, "Oh no, the intifada is a peaceful thing. It's calling for revolution, for independence, and whatever it might be." But I have actually seen graffiti that around my city, graffiti where it's saying globalized intifada, and there's a bunch of people raising their fists and that. It's been covered up now. After the shooting, it's been covered up. It's been there for a very long time. Now it's been covered up. Why is that? Because this whole time, for like a year and a half, 2 years, you've been talking about, "Oh, the globalized intifada is, there's nothing bad about that saying." Well, congratulations, your people, your guys, the more radical group within your group, they have in fact globalized the intifada. They have brought it from the Middle East to Australia, to Bondi. They have successfully globalized it. And when we're talking about the second intifada, for example, they weren't peaceful activities. That was a violent uprising that led to multiple deaths. And that was just the intifada. So if you wanted to globalize a violent uprising, what exactly are you calling for? Like, these people really take us all for fools, for idiots. Like, they think we can't look up the history. They think we can't actually, especially today, that we can't go in to these platforms and just click one button and get everything they're saying translated from Arabic or whatever other language they're speaking into English. They genuinely think we're that dumb. Well, no longer. As I always say, the internet is Islam's Achilles heel. And I believe even Harris Sultan, he put up something on X where he showed us similar comments from Pakistan where they were talking about, where they were saying the exact same stuff in Urdu. And he translated that as well. And I guarantee you, if we actually went into, if perhaps I put in a hidden camera and went to Bankstown in Sydney, to one of these mosques, and if I attend them a couple of times, you know what? I reckon people there would be saying the exact same thing. Because a lot of them I have seen on even platforms like X being like, 15 people have died, but like these are Australians. But over in Palestine today, this number of people died. Hello? Are you Australian or are you not? Like, people have died a couple of suburbs over from you. But that's not a problem to you. Well, of course not, because no one's targeting you, really. And you're not in any danger. Yeah, the only religion, perhaps, that doesn't need extra security or don't need to worry about their religious festivities, their Eids, perhaps is the religion of Islam. Whether you're Christian, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Buddhist, whether you're a Hindu, all these religions are concerned about security. All these religions need to hire their own security groups. Like, if you didn't know, for example, the Australian Jewish community has their own security. I think it's called CT. It starts with a C, I'm pretty sure. Maybe someone in the comment section can enlighten me on that. But they have their own security. If you go to a Christmas market, there are these bollards everywhere. Who are these preventing? Who are these bollards for? They're certainly not for Zoroastrians. They're not for followers of Scientology. They're not for Sikhs or Buddhists or Christians or Jews. Like, what are we doing here? We know exactly why they're there and why they're needed. And you can zoom out and you see the exact same thing in Europe. You can see all these festivals, Christian Christmas markets getting cancelled, New Year's events getting cancelled. These aren't because of other religions. So this is the thing. Like, they can no longer trick us. This is what they're thinking, and this is why I want to connect it back to, the Imams Council coming out and saying all this. And I'm like, you know what? Like, you're surrounded by leaders from other religious groups, other religious communities, but I don't think, like, it's a nice little photo op for us to see them all there, but I don't really know if they should be saying much and they should even be there. I think the multiple Imams Councils from multiple states probably should have gotten together and put out something together saying, hey, you know what? Yeah, there is an extremism problem within our community. We're going to do a lot to address that. You know what? Like, we're going to make our Friday sermons and all that really transparent. We're gonna invite observers, third-party observers, to come into our mosques and look at these sermons and show you that we're doing something here. We're trying to fix the problem here, that we are, we acknowledge that there's a problem, and we'll do everything in our power to make sure that something like this does not happen again. And we are going to happily work with security agencies. We're going to provide them with the intel. None of this happened. No, none of this happened. It's actually crazy. In fact, and I have this particular topic that we're going to move on to later, about how instead of doing all of that, they actually created a report that took them months on Islamophobia, where they have now actually presented this to the government. And this report actually talks about changing counter-terrorism laws because they feel their community is perhaps too targeted. Well, why is your community targeted? Like, this is not some sort of mystery here. And the other thing, just building on that, as you know, Ahmed, the gentleman who very bravely, and I couldn't even believe this when I was first watching the video. He jumped in, grabbed the terrorist from behind, the old guy, and grabbed the gun. He was trying to grab the gun. So when I was watching this, as the news was just coming out, and when I saw that he was able to successfully grab the gun off this dude, I was like, holy shit, I don't think I've ever seen something like that happen before. Like, the closest I could probably think of would be in the US, where at a school, like, a teacher goes in and there's this kid with a firearm. And this teacher, I think he just goes and gives the kid a hug and was able to sort of stop this before it even happened. But this was in the middle of this happening. I was like, holy shit. Like, that's crazy. This guy must have had some balls, some cojones to be able to do that. When it comes to him, now he is getting threats from the Arab world, and specifically from Palestinians, talking about how he's a traitor. How crazy is that? Like, in Australia, you know, in Western countries, because they have an incentive to ensure to highlight this guy, because, you know, they're mostly worried about Islamophobia over everything else. They're highlighting this guy. Yeah. So this guy, despite doing all of that, you know what? In the Arab world, he's a traitor because he saved the lives of perhaps even more Jewish people. Ironically, like, he would have saved the lives of a lot more people. Yeah. So in this case, he is also now a target. Shockingly. Like, what? Like, you cannot make peace with such evil. You cannot, like, they're talking about, oh, it's a time for unity, we should not be so divided. You know what, guys? I don't want to be united with people who leave comments like this. I don't want to be united with the people threatening this guy. I don't want to be united with the imams or community leaders who cannot come out and police their own communities. I don't want to be united with anyone who would hide their sermons, who would protect their radicals, who would ask the Prime Minister of this country to be like, oh, hey, you know what, we should downgrade our counter-terrorism laws, or change our counter-terrorism laws to not focus on certain religions or certain groups. Like, I do not want to be united with these people at all. I don't actually even want to be united with people who cannot even name what the issue is. I don't want to be united with them, genuinely, because I feel like if you cannot even come to terms with why this happened and call it out for what it is, then your intentions are evil. Like, they're just pure evil. Because a thought process like this, at scale, is what eventually led to this led to this mass tragedy. Yeah, I don't want to be united. In fact, you know that saying, was it after the Bataclan massacre, or perhaps it was after the Manchester, like the Ariana Grande concert attack? This phrase came out and they were like, oh, don't look back in anger. You know what? I'm pretty angry. And I will be looking back in anger, because we have been talking about this for a very long time, and the left and the Islamic community and all these people have just tried to hide it. They've tried to normalize their anti-Semitism. They've tried everything in their power to distract us from what the real issue is here. It's actually crazy.
In the neon haze of a broken dawn, steel towers hum, but the wild runs on. A shadow